Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but a means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy YouTube, you find that a lot of the content you watch is very visually engaging, and you're several hours in just watching videos and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your knitting as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. So if you're new here, this is part of my Knit Ahead for the Holidays series, in which I push myself to get all of my knitting projects done before the holiday deadline to have everything shipped off. And here it is. I'm recording this on November 2nd, and it's kind of late in the evening, but I'm actually making pretty good progress right now with my projects. I have 2 pairs of socks to finish, 1 wrap, and a blanket that we're going to work on today. So let's get right in. So this video is part of, it's part of the Knit Ahead series, but this particular project is one that I've worked on before, which is why it has a part attached to the title. I have this remainder of yarn left, so we have 5 balls. Oh no, we have 6 total. There's some that were already packaged when it was shipped to me, and I have this. So 6 balls total of yarn that I still have to work with, and I am in this color right now, so I have 1 more of this dark gray to knit with, and I'm very much at the beginning stages with the ball I'm working with now. So taking it out of my project bag, but here I am with this working yarn right now. So, as you can see, there's quite a bit more to go with this, and if you've watched my other videos with this project, you know that this was actually a project I was supposed to have done last year, and I did not make it, so hopefully I get it done in time for this year's present. So we're just going to get right into it. And actually, let me scoot you back a hair so you can see more of my project. So this is a very simple pattern. I have the description where you can get it on Ravelry if you would also like to work on it. There are different yarn sizes and different pattern sizes that you can work from. And I'm kind of just making up my own for this. It's not quite a throw. It's not quite a full Afghan size. So we'll see where we end up, but I just knew I wanted to use bulky yarn. I knew the colors, and I knew I wanted an easy pattern when I went into this, so I was able to find this. It was actually from Craftsy, which is formerly, or no, it was from Blueprint, which was formerly called Craftsy, and they had since removed the pattern, but I was able to find it again on Ravelry just for reference. I had already printed it out prior when I found it on Craftsy. So I know I started this series back in May of this year, where I literally did start knitting ahead because I knew I had a lot and I knew my schedule would be all over the place, and decided it was a good time for me to start my channel and start keeping track of my progress. So with that in mind, how many of you out there have already started knitting for your holidays? Are you like me and started ahead because you knew you were going to need to? Or had you kind of had in your mind what you wanted to do and are planning on later on? Like, do you have a lot of people to knit for? Just a couple friends and family? Or do you just knit all year round and have projects on reserve just to give as gifts? That's kind of what I would like to do for next year. Granted, a lot of the stuff I want to do next year for people are socks. I'll need to know their shoe size, but for the most part, I have the same people I knit for every time, with the exception of a few friends. So kind of depends on what projects that I find are easy enough that I can knit without knowing an exact size, and the ones that are more specific, like socks. But I definitely plan on doing a lot more small and easy things for next year. And blankets only for special occasions. Speaking of, my partner had told me another friend of his is expecting later next year, so that makes 2 baby blankets I need to knit. Now, I kept, for the son of his first friend, who I found out about, I wanted to go with like a green scheme, just a simple baby pattern. It's good for boys or girls or uh, any kind of gender. It's just a nice neutral color. And I remember my mom having a lot of green when I was a baby, and it's just a good baby color, like a seafoam green. That was my baby room scheme. But my mom really loved green. Green was her favorite color. So baby green, seafoam green is like a nice soft, calm color. And the blanket that I'm knitting for his friends that are having their baby in January is going to be more like a bright green kind of scheme. I found a pattern that I'd like to use. However, for the other friends, they're having a girl. But besides being pink or purple, I either want to do like yellow or soft orange, but I found some other yarn from a different site, and I'll go with that, I think. But it's also green, but it's definitely more like muted seafoam green. Good color, I think, for a baby. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to use the same pattern for both and just kind of arrange the color scheme differently. But for the most part, if I can do two of the pattern with the baby blankets, then I can find another one later that I would like to use. But I don't really know a lot of people who have babies like that I know well enough that I would want to knit blankets for, but I thought it'd be just a nice gesture for my partner's friends. But let me know in the comments, have you knit baby blankets before? It's just like a big old square, but I did want to keep it simple for my own sanity and time, but at the same time, I didn't want to just knit like a simple pattern like this again. Try something else, because this would be the second time I've used this pattern. Made a scarf before with it, and this blanket here. And I have some yarn that was donated to me that I made a scarf with. It's hard, it's not the best yarn to work with. I don't like it, but I was able to make do. And I'm thinking of adding a hat to the scarf and just giving it as a set. I already made it for a friend, but I hadn't given it to her yet. So I think I can whip up a hat pretty quickly with the same yarn and make like a little pom-pom on top. But I have to find a pattern because it's kind of like bulky weight yarn, but it's like coily. It's almost like it reminds me of my hair. It has like this, there's like one thin strand going through it, and then there's like this, it's not really toughy, but like plushy kind of yarn coily thing around it. And it's Lion brand. I'm kind of like chomping at the bit again, even though I just showed you guys all of the cool stuff I got for my birthday. It's stuff that I plan on using for myself, and I'm thinking, you know, I still need another couple sets of sock blockers. I need some more blocking mats. I need some more little packets of wool soaks for knits to give as like a starter for the stuff I'm giving out. So I have like a few more things on my list for the end of this year that I need to get before I can even ship this stuff out. Oh, and another set or two of blocking pens. I'm like, alright, I have a list. I gotta get some stuff. It's November. I'm not going to probably have enough time to have it shipped and ready before my deadline, so I'll probably be making those purchases pretty soon, but I kind of want to wait till Black Friday to see if there are any sales, but at the same time, Thanksgiving is so late this year in the States that it's already going to be December, right, as soon as Thanksgiving Thanksgiving is over. So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, the year's almost over. It's crazy. So let me know in the comments. Do you feel like the year went by really fast for you too? Like, there's so many things I thought of I was gonna do, and I didn't. So, but I'm glad I made this channel. That's one accomplishment I'm very proud of. And the last time I was talking to you guys and working on this, I had lost count of my knits and my pearls, and so I tried to fix the ones I could, but there are some that I wasn't able to fix, and I'm coming up on a couple of them right now. I'm like, God darn it. But man, we had some pretty cold weather here lately. I'm it's hard because I hate summer, too hot, but then here in the Midwest, I don't get a nice transition from summer to fall to winter. It's not even winter yet, but it's very cold. And I love that I get to wear my cardigans, but just being out in it isn't fun. And I'm surprised my heating bill isn't crazy high. It used to be like in the 80s and 90s from running the heat, but I'm cold, and our house is very drafty, so I have it set for like 74. Um, so it comes on when it comes on, and then it turns off, and I don't have it set like on a specific program because I feel like if I did it, it would take longer. It would take longer for it to heat, and I think that's why my bill used to be high, because I would do like a program on my thermostat, and it would take forever for it to heat up, and then it would turn off, during those times. So now if it's already around 74 all the time, by the time the heater turns on, it doesn't take as long to get it back up to 74 because it's just always going to turn on to be 74. So I feel like it doesn't take as much energy then once it's been established what the temperature is just to maintain that versus like not being on at all and then turning on certain times of the day. But let me know. Are you like that? Do you have a set program? Are you a hot person? Do you like it nice and super toasty? Or are you cool? Or are you fine with just having it at 70, which is about the normal temperature? But I need it hot. I wish I had like radiant heat or something in like the floors, so then it'd just be nice and warm everywhere. I bet the cats would love that. They would be on the floor all the time if it was just heat coming out of the floor. As my girl, Kabu, there's this air vent that's by the litter boxes in the living room, and she'll literally, like if she's feeling super chilly that day, she'll just sit right on top of it. And then of course we are losing the benefits because she's like suffocating the air because she's covering the vent and just absorbing all the warmth. But I don't blame her. When I was a kid, when I'd wake up first thing in the morning and I'd find it kind of chilly in my room, when the heater would come on, I would just go and sit on top of it and then like huddle up and then throw my nightshirt over my knees and just sit on the heater until I felt warm enough to get dressed. So I understand. And it's cold too when they want to just cuddle up with me all day. Like Koji, my boy cat, I was pretty tired. Because my volunteer shift is 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. So I got home really early this morning, and it just took me a while to wind down, even though I was kind of tired, but I just wasn't ready to go to bed yet. So unfortunately, I kind of throw myself into like this insomniatic pattern where if I'm staying up late, then I sleep in late, then I stay up and I sleep in and I stay up, And so I'm kind of in that pattern again, and I need to stop it because it's affecting how I feel when I get up to go to work in the morning. Um, but with that being said, I went to bed close to like 5 in the morning uh, today, and I got up around 2 in the afternoon, which is bad. I know. It's like reminds me of high school, junior high, when I would literally just sleep all afternoon. Um, Stay up late or just sleep because I just love to sleep anyway. But uh, Koji and Kabu just like lived on the bed with me the whole afternoon. I was really surprised because usually they got up every now and then, get some water, have a couple bites of some food, and come back in. But they didn't go downstairs at all. Like, they were with me on the bed. They would, get up, come back to a different spot. But Koji just wanted to be just right here on me all afternoon, and it was okay. And nobody at work called me, which was great. Usually I would imagine being woken up by them. Like, I didn't set my alarm because I figured they would wake me up if they had any questions. But this weekend, I hadn't been bothered. And I'm surprised. I'm glad because, it's the weekend. I'm not there. I don't want them to call me. But if they need help, that's what I'm there for. So I was really just like, oh, I hope everything's going okay over there. I didn't get any phone calls waking me up from my sleep. So that was so good. But, yep. Kitties just love to be around when it's cold. So they're very, they like to be on me anyway, but you notice it more when it's chilly because then they just want you there because you're warm. Even though they're actually warmer than me, so it kind of benefits me because then they make the spot on the bed nice and warm. So now that you'll see this on Sunday, how was your weekend? What did you do on Saturday? How was your Friday? Are you going to be off on the 11th? If you're in the States and you work, do you get Veterans Day off? I don't. It's a normal day for me at my job, but I remember it being more of like a day where people acknowledged that it existed when I was like in high school and stuff like that. I don't think I haven't had any job where we were off on Veterans Day, come to think of it. But yeah, let me know if you're going to be off. So that's kind of a while from now. So we'll probably have another video where I might bring that up. And what else? Yes, I added my pillows that I got from my aunt for my birthday. Kind of straightened things up. Brought back my other pillows that she made. This one is actually a photo collage. I'll show you. This is a photo collage of Koji when he was a kitten. So one of my former coworkers used to foster him before he was old enough to be adopted. And so I'll give you the Koji story. Oh, I messed up my little display. But so a few years ago, well, I guess now because he's 4 now, so 4 years ago, around May, one of my coworkers noticed that there were these cats around. I mean, her neighborhood has a lot of cats that are kind of like colony cats anyway, and there was a neighbor there that was feeding them and stuff, so they were just kind of hanging around anyway. But then she noticed there were some hanging out under her back porch, and upon further investigation, she found out it was a mama cat who had kittens. And so the kittens were there, and she kind of investigated, and I guess because the mom, who was alive, she recently, well, within this year she did pass away, but Lily what's her name? So Lily kind of caught wind that my coworker was kind of scoping her out, so she relocated to a shed in the neighbor's yard where he was feeding the cats. And so at first they were called the canoe cats because they were like under this canoe under their porch in the back. And then they relocated. And so my other coworker, who's very good friends with the one the cats were around, wanted to trap them, to get them neutered, fostered, whatever, bring them to the shelter. But a shelter in our town was overflowing with cats because it was springtime. So it was kitten fever anyway. All the kittens, they had no room. So she caught them a family. And Koji was actually the last kitten caught from being trapped in the cages and stuff. And so he's like the most reluctant of the cats, I think. As I think she got like 2 at a time once. The mom, some of the kittens, and one of his sisters was like the second to last that got caught, and then he was the last one. And he has a brother who's named Butter, and he lives with the one who trapped them's mother-in-law and father-in-law. Gwen, who's one of his sisters, lives with the person who trapped them. Lily, his mother, who passed away, also lived with her. And then his other sister, Sue, was rehomed, and now she lives in California. So I have Koji. My coworker has had the mom and one of his sisters in Cali, and then his brother is with her in-laws. And so she had to keep them in her house because the shelter she was going to take them to was full. So she fostered him, and when I heard about it, I was like, oh, great. I was thinking about getting a new kitty anyway because I found out from my landlord at the time that I could have 3 cats in my home, and I had 2. Kabu and the late Kokuo, who is his big brother, adopted brother, were living with me, and I really wanted a 3rd cat. So I was looking at the shelter where Kabu and Kokuo came from, and it's like, yay, okay, there's some kittens, these are cute, there's some older cats, these are great too, anything's fine. But then my coworker's like, I'm fostering some cats right now, so, hold off until they're ready, and then you can have one. So at first I was going to take Butter because he was an orange kitty. I didn't have an orange kitty, and I heard orange kitties are great. I mean, all cats are great, but orange boys apparently are very cuddly and sweet. And I was like, okay, sure, that's fine. But then she came back later and she's like, actually, my in-laws want him, so yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's cute too. Koji's cute too. And so I'd go to her house maybe like once or twice a month or so, just a couple weekends, and hang out with them, give them treats, play with them, get to know them, get to know the mom. And finally it was time. He had been fixed. He was on his meds. He was all clean to go. And around my birthday, it was actually the day after my birthday in 2014 that I adopted him. And, well, no. 2015, duh, because he's 4, so 2019. So yes, 2015 is when I got him home. But they were born on May 5th is what their date of birth is marked on their documents. They're probably maybe a day or 2 around there, but definitely month of May was when they were born. So they gave him May 5th as his birthday with his siblings. And yeah, so I've had him since then, but when he was being fostered, they lived in one of her bathrooms, her master bathroom, and it was so funny because, like, there's this, where he's sitting in this picture, he's leaning against the sink cabinet thing, and there was like just a little bit of an arc of a gap between the bottom of the cabinet and the floor, like a little cutout part. And like anytime they felt scared, they would just run and they would squish as best as they could all in that little gap. And the bigger they got, the harder it was for them to hide under there. So like her husband is a little, he's not loud, but he's definitely not a quiet stepper, quiet talker, and the cats were very like uneasy when he would come around. So if they heard him, they would just shoot under there. But then, I was in there and they were just hiding, and just their little legs are sticking out because like the mama's. I think Lily would go under there sometimes, but it was mostly the kittens. But once they got to be too big, they wouldn't fit. So they're just like their legs are sticking out. And it's like, okay, guys. And it just reminded me just now of when I had to get him in his cage to go to the vet for his drooling. And he, when I was trying to tire him out because he would not let me get close enough to him to wrap him up and put him in the carrier, he hid behind the Venetian blinds, or vertical blinds that we have by the sliding door. And he just like hid behind them. But obviously we saw him run there, and he was just like sitting, like, nobody can see me. It's like his tail is out, like everything. It's like, yeah, we can kind of tell you're back there, guy. So, so funny. But yeah, he is like the scariest of scaredy cats. Doorbell rings, he runs. You're walking around with boots or shoes, he runs. I don't know, you sneeze too loud, he runs. It's like very, you would think, I always joke with my partner, like, we're like, you are a street cat. Why are you so sensitive? But he's very sensitive. Everything bothers him. But he's so cuddly too, which is funny because when my partner wasn't living with me at the time, he had moved away for a little bit and was living in Texas. And when he came back, I'm like, I have a cat. And he's like, oh, okay, well, we didn't discuss this. And I'm like, no, but I want a cat. We can have a cat. We have it in the lease. It's fine. And so when he met Koji, he was in my bathroom because I had Kabu and Kokuo, and they had to be introduced. So he was in the bathroom where he could get used to me because he still wasn't socialized enough to let me touch him or anything. And, get used to Koji or Kokuo and Kabu on the outside, and, their smells and their noises and stuff. And then we were making some progress. I was able to feed him on my lap, like put the food bowl on my lap, lay down in the or sit down in the bathroom with a towel over my legs because he still had razor sharp kitten claws, and I didn't want him, walking and scratching me. So I'd sit there very still, put the food bowl on my lap, and he'd slowly come out because he had a little box in my bathroom where he could hide and feel safe, and he'd slowly come out, walk over, he'd like make sure I'm not looking at him, and then he'd come and he'd eat off of my lap, and then I was able to put like puree turkey, like baby food, on my hand and hold that out, and he could slowly come over and eat out of my hand. But first he was like, I'm not eating out of your hand, so he'd just like stick his claw and like rake the food off of my hand, and that hurt so bad. But when my partner came home, it was like we took 3 steps back. Like he had to be re-socialized, acclimated to new people and noises, and my partner was just terrified of this kitten. He's like, he keeps hissing at me when I go in the bathroom, and I'm like, he's more scared of you. He's not going to come at you. He's not going to scratch you. He's not going to try to fight you. He's just scared. He's just letting you know, like, keep your distance, man. Like, I'm over here. You do your thing over there. We're going to be fine. And now he's just, like, the most lovable kitten, or cat. Like, he's so sweet with us. Of course, he's still leery of strangers, but as far as, like, us, like, cannot do any wrong. He just loves us so much. So, well, I've not made that much progress. I have this much left to knit, and this is how much I got done. It's not too bad, but you can see this is quite a process. And if I'm chatting with you, it takes a little longer. But for the most part, I'm making my way through. I'm hoping to at least get a ball a week done, and that should get me just in time to have it ready. But at the same time, things happen. I keep setting it down. It's just a very long, daunting project, and I don't know. But thank you so much for listening to me ramble about my kitties, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.